My name is Walter Robles. I'm the associate professor in the Department of Rural Development and also the chair of the department. I have been here since 2014, I guess. And actually, I'm very happy. My partnership with UNESP goes a long way. Indeed, actually, over 20 years already, 21 years, working with the UNESP, one of the biggest universities in Brazil, in São Paulo. São Paulo has three main universities: the state of São Paulo, the state of University of São Paulo, Unicamp, where I did my BA, and the State University of São Paulo, where actually UNESP is located in Alvaro Marques. We have recently, actually, thanks to the Rural Development Institute, I was able to go to Brazil and sign an agreement, which I believe the paper is coming just soon, they formalize it. So we have a formal agreement between BU and UNESP, which actually encompasses three areas: student mobility, research partnership, and also staff partnerships. Indeed, actually, Alvaro is part of the staff member. He's a manager of research projects in Brazil. So without any more delays, I will pass this thing for Alvaro.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Robles. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for your presence. Can you hear me? Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Alvaro Marques. I'm from Brazil. So I'm going to discuss with you today the research partnerships for international development, exploring the relationship between BU and UNESP. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Robles and the team of RDI for hosting me, for having me for this 2 months and a half. I have been here since the beginning of October, and I'm leaving on December 15. So I'd like to thank everyone for having me. I'm gonna discuss a little bit my agenda today. It's 5 topics I'm going to discuss with you. There will be a brief presentation about myself, an introduction about my country and the state of São Paulo. So it's important to give you like the full picture of Brazil and the states. Some of you already know some information, but it's important for you to know. I think it'll be interesting actually for you to know some big numbers about our country. Some highlights about UNESP, the São Paulo State University, as Professor Robles said, is one of the 3 public universities of the state of São Paulo and one of the most important universities of the country and also of the world and Latin America. I'm going to briefly explain you about my where I work actually. Is the Institute of Public Policy and International Relations. And then we're gonna conclude with some future partnerships, possibilities, and opportunities. And then we have a time so we can chat, we can have like a Q&A moment. So a brief presentation about myself, about my academic background. I hold a bachelor's degree in social communication at the University of São Paulo and also a bachelor's degree in social sciences, and also at the USP, the University of São Paulo. I'm also a specialist in project management at USP. And currently, I'm a master's student at the Federal University of ABC. Federal University of ABC is a new, young university in Brazil, of the state of São Paulo. But it's very important considering the list of young universities in Brazil. Federal University of ABC is the 3rd one already. And is a 15 years old university, so it's a very young university. But I'm not talking about Federal University of ABC today. I'm talking about UNESP. About background, professional background. Currently, I'm responsible for the project management at the Institute of Public Policy and International Relations. And previous experiences, I have more than 10 years of experience in project management and communication in enterprise in companies. And also I work in a foundation of the University of São Paulo at the School of Engineering. So giving you a full picture of Brazil, like the main information about Brazil, Brazil is a federative republic composed by the Union. We also have 26 states, the federal district, and the municipalities. It's more than 5,000 municipalities, so we have a lot of municipalities. About the population is more than 200 million people in Brazil. It's the 50th largest country of the world, only behind only Russia, Canada, China, and the US, but it occupies almost half of the territory of South America. We have like some contradictions in our country. We are looking at the largest GDP in the world economies. Looking at the list, we are nowadays on the top 10. We are the number 9, considering the numbers this year. But at the same time, considering the index about social inequalities from the United Nations Development Program, we are the 7th most unequal country in the world. So we have this contradiction. So we have big challenges, social challenges, because of this inequality in our country. Also giving you some information about science and technology finance in Brazil. The national expenditure in science and technology in the year of 2020. This is the the most recent number, the most recent data. We are talking about 100 billion reais. Just so you know, I'm not sure if you all know, one Canadian dollar is 3.5 reais. So one Canadian dollar, 3.5. So we have the national expenditure 100 billion. Is almost 1.5 of our GDP in 2020. About the expenditure in science and technology, 54% is public expenditure and 46% is business enterprise expenditure. And also considering the federal government expenditures, we have some major, the most important ministers, they spend money they have budget for science and technology. We have the Ministry of Education that is responsible for almost half of the national expenditure, the federal expenditure. And also we have the Ministry of Education that is responsible for almost a quarter. We have the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation that is responsible for a quarter, And also we have the Ministry of Health that is responsible for 9%, the top three. The largest sources of science and technology in 2021, we have first the Coordination for the Improvement of Higher Education Personnel, that is called COPS. I was granted, for example, my grant comes from this one, the COPS. It's 3.3 billion. It is linked to the Ministry of Education, the first one. We have the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development, CNPq, that is linked to the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. It's 1.1 billion. Also, we have the São Paulo Research Foundation, is FAPESP, the third one. So you can see the numbers, how important is FAPESP, because they have a budget that is almost the same that the second, that is a federal agency. So it's very interesting to see how the numbers, they are close. So it's very important, FAPESP, the São Paulo Research Foundation. Also, we have a National Fund for Scientific and Technological Development, and also Rio de Janeiro Research Foundation, that is also very important, mainly because Rio, they have big research projects related to health, public health. The Fiocruz is a foundation that is responsible for researching in public health. So big numbers. Also, I'm bringing some numbers, but also showing some contradictions. So number of articles from Brazil published in scientific journals indexed by Scopus. So it's almost 100,000. So it's almost 3% of the world articles that were published. We have in 2020 more than 20,000 PhD students that were graduated in Brazil. And we are considering the list, we are number 13 in world ranking in scientific production. But at the same time, considering the innovation index, we are in a low position. So we still have a big difficulties and challenges to have the scientific and technological knowledge convert to innovation. So it's a major problem in Brazil. Talking briefly about higher education institutions, Brazil, we adopt a mixed system of public and private universities. So we have 2,500 higher education institutions. 300 they are public, and the rest are private. Considering the public higher education, we have in the federal level, the state level, and also the municipal level. We have the institutions. And it's a very important data that the public institutions, the higher education institutions, the public ones, they are responsible for 99% of the science that is produced in Brazil. Talking about the state of São Paulo, we are considering the whole population of the country. In the state of São Paulo, we have 22% of Brazilian population. It's the most important Brazilian state, economically speaking, in economic terms. So we have the financial and the industrial heart of Brazil. We have a big city in Brazil, metropolis. We have the city of São Paulo with 12 million people living there. You also have, if you consider the metropolitan area, we are talking about 20 million people. So it's a lot of people. Considering the Brazilian GDP is 32%, and we have there more than 600 municipalities. Considering the whole government expenditures in science and technology in Brazil, the state of São Paulo is responsible for more than half of them. Considering each state, the expenditure of each state, the state of São Paulo is responsible for more than the half of it. So we have 39% of our PhD graduated in Brazil from the state of São Paulo. Almost 4% expenditures on science and technology in relation to the total revenues. And also about the state of São Paulo, it concentrates a quarter of all higher education institutes of Brazil and the 3 public universities in Brazil, as Professor Robles always said. University of São Paulo, State University of Campinas, and São Paulo State University, UNESP, are among the best in the country with international recognition. And since 1989, the 3 state universities of São Paulo, they have been treated as autonomous institutions, and they are financed by a percentage of important taxes from the state of São Paulo. So they have autonomy, administrative autonomy. About the São Paulo State University, UNESP, as I said before, is one of the 3 public universities maintained by the state of São Paulo. It offers quality education while developing strategic research and interacting with the society through the provision of services for the community. It's like 3 big pillars that we have there. It's like teaching, education, we have research, and we have services for communities, is extension programs. So it's very important, these 3 pillars in our university. It was founded in 1976, so it's considered a young university, because usually they consider universities that they are 50 years or less. So it is still a young university. and it was a result of the unification of higher education individual institutes distributed in various regions of the state of São Paulo. We have offered courses in different areas such as engineering, health, communications, humanities, social sciences, arts, among others, and has become one of the most important and respected universities of the country. And geographically, it covers the totality of the state of São Paulo, considering the distance of maximum 100 kilometers from each campus. Let me show you how does it work. So we have the state of São Paulo. I'll show you, like, let me just, I think, so we have the map of Brazil. We have the state of São Paulo that is in red. So considering the map of the state of São Paulo, we have, in each circle, we have a campus of UNESP. So you can see that it's well widespread. So we have a lot of campus of UNESP in the entire state of São Paulo. It's a very interesting photo, so you can see. Talking about more information about our university, about rankings. The QS World University Ranking of this year, of 2023, was number 419, considering all universities in the world. Considering Times Higher Education 2024, it was in this between 600 and 800, right? The position, and was considered the third best university in Brazil. The academic ranking of world universities of 2023 is a Chinese ranking. We were considered the second best university in Brazil, and the Times Higher Education in young universities, that this ranking is for universities that are 50 years old or younger. We are the best in Brazil. About international partners, we have strong international partnerships with institutions from different places of the world. So Latin America, North America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Oceania. We have some examples here in Canada. We have Brandon University. We have Université de Montréal, Université Naval. So we have some examples of formal agreements that we have with these institutions, or partnerships or formal agreements. And other example, for instance, recently our president, the president of UNESP, he visited the Hubei University, the University of Hubei in China, because UNESP and the University of Hubei has a strong partnership. Is a 15 years old partnership, a strong partnership. At UNESP, we have the Confucius Institute that is responsible for teaching Chinese culture and Chinese languages. So it's a very strong partnership with the institution from China. About the undergrad and graduate areas of UNESP, we have some main areas such as agricultural sciences, biological sciences, health science, exact and earth sciences, humanities, applied social sciences, engineering, linguistic, literature and arts, and multidisciplinary and science studies. In this website, you can see the undergrad courses and the graduate programs in each area. It's a big list, so I think it was important to show you. I think it was important to show you only the main areas, but in this website you can see the full list. About the Institute of Public Policy and International Relations, is held in the city of São Paulo, in the center of São Paulo. So we have here our building. We are in the third and the fourth floor of this building, and we are in the front of Sé Square. That is a very important square in the center of São Paulo. So the mission of our institute, it was founded in 2011, and works to preserve, develop, and disseminate interdisciplinary scientific knowledge, in two areas of the two area of the structure and institutional scope, which are public policies and international relations. The main areas there, we have three. We have graduate courses, we have research centers, and we have the UNESCO chair in rural education and territorial development. As my main activities there, briefly telling you, I'm responsible for the project management office. The main activities is mapping opportunities of sources of funding, preparing for proposals and submit for funding agencies, monitor approved projects, communication with stakeholders, events and budget management, and also I'm a researcher in some of these projects. Talking briefly about our graduate program in international relations, we have two major areas there. The first one is institutional processes and actors. And in this area, we have 4 themes, which are governance, international politics and foreign policy, regionalism, international political economy, and studies about the United States. And the second area is peace, defense, and international security, with 4 themes also: strategic thinking, defense and foreign policy, peace studies, conflict resolution, and crisis management, international security studies, and international conflicts and violence in contemporary societies. So these are the 4 areas of the second area, 4 themes of the second area of our graduate program. It's important to say that it's a multi-institutional course, is offered by UNESP, but also together with State University of Campinas and the Pontifical Catholic University of São Paulo. So it's a very interesting program because it's offered by 3 different institutions and is well recognized in this area in Brazil and in the world. The second graduate program in territorial development in Latin America and Caribbean, we have 3 major themes. So we have peasantry, capitalism and technologies, food sovereignty, environment and health, and territory education and culture. We also have some partners such as Florestan Fernandes National School and Via Campesina. About the research centers, we have some of them, such as International Defense and Security Study Groups. They have a strong connection to our programs and the areas of studies in the graduate programs. So we have the International Defense, Institute of Economic International Studies, National Institute of Studies on the United States, Center for International Studies and Analysis, Human Rights Education Observatory, and the Rede Data Luta, that is the Brazilian Research Network on Struggles for Space and Territories. We also have the UNESCO Chair in Rural Education and Territorial Development. Here we have our coordinator, Professor Bernardo Fernandes, and a big partner, Professor Robles. I remember I took this photo. I didn't. I remember when I was doing the presentation. So about the UNESCO Chair, we have scientific training and research with focus on sustainable development in the territory of traditional populations in Latin America and the Caribbean, the construction of knowledge about territorial development based on the realities of the partners' communities, joint research projects, considering the cultural, political, interdisciplinary diversity of the territories, and also connection with our partners such as UNESCO and other research networks. So talking about our projects, I'm going to explain you briefly some examples. We have 2 big research projects. They were submitted recently for the São Paulo Research Foundation that I told you before. The first one is a Research Innovation and Dissemination Center. It was the 2023 Humanities Call. It was submitted last year, and we are waiting for the result. It's a huge center of innovation and research. So it takes a while to have the response they have, because we have like a lot of contestants, and our proposal is related to international analysis and prospect center. I think is one of the most important kind of supports the FAPESP supports. So we have like a budget, annual budget of 8 million reais for this kind of project. So it's a big project. And also we have the Transatlantic Platform for the Social Sciences and Humanities that is also a big. The call was this year, actually recently. The theme of this year was Democracy, Governance, and Trust. And Brandon University is a member of the project, of the proposal, with Professor Wilder, Dr. Wayne Kelly, Dr. Patricia Harms, and Dr. Serena Petrel. Also, we have 2 current projects from these 2 agencies, CNPq and CAPES, that I'm going to explain you now. They are already happening. The first one is CNPq project. We have like some photos about it. So the name of the project is Scientific Contributions to Territory Studies with Proposal of Public Policies for Sustainable Development. It's supported by CNPq, which is the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development. It's a foundation linked to the Ministry of Science and Technology, as I said before. It was a pro-humanities public call. So it's Scientific and Technological Development Program in Humanities. It's a 2-year project. It was a humanities call, is not so common in this National Council. Usually they are more focused on engineering and technological development, but this we have a call in the humanities area. So this project is related to Rede Data Luta, that was one of the research centers that I spoke before. It's a national network which Bruna is part of. She's a research there at Rede Data Luta. Bruna is a Brazilian research from the state of São Paulo, from UNESP too. She's a ELAP. She got a ELAP scholarship, so she's here also for a few months. And she's a researcher in Rede Data Luta. And the main focus is to study 23 territories to study essential themes related to the SDGs, such as agrarian reform, agroecology, traditional people, rural education, and demand for rights, focus on the immigrants from Venezuela. So quickly telling you the objectives. So we contribute to territory studies by proposing public policies based on the SDGs. And we have for each community, each territory, some specific objectives, such as understand main process for rural settlements, analyze ways of overcoming the territorialization of traditional people, understand the situation of Venezuelan immigrants in the cities of São Paulo and Presidente Prudente. So we have, for each group, we have a specific goal. The main activities in this project is, we have 4 major activities. So it's the first one is preparatory research activities, planning and construction of diagnosis of in the territory, a public policy proposal, and assessment of the project development. So this is the 4 main activities. The methodology is action research. So it's possible to participate and have a strong connection with these communities and institutions involved. And it's important to focus that is a public policy research, policy-oriented research project. So we have here some institutions. We have some national institutions that are involved in this project. some federal universities, some state universities, and we also have some international universities from, such as Lancaster, from UK. We have some examples. Talking about our other project, the other example is the CAPS project. It's supported by the Coordination of Recruitment of Higher Education Personnel. Since 2019, CAPS has developed a program to promote the internalization of graduate programs. The initiative demands each university to formulate its own strategy for internalization and invite institutions to submit a project based on these strategies. So UNESP presented our internationalization project program, actually, and our project was submitted and was granted with the second largest funding among the select proposals. With for the period of 5 years, we have $20 million for 5 years. So it's a huge grant. And the project is aligned with the SDGs also, involving 7 cross-cutting research themes, such as plural societies, bioeconomy, health and wellness, biodiversity, and climate change. So this is the UNESP project. It was granted. And in this big project, we have like small projects in the university that's submitted and get the grant inside of UNESP. So we have one of these projects that is social territory movements in comparative perspective, which we have Brandon University also as a partner and Professor Robles as a partner. So as I say, social territory movements. We have 2 agreements related to this grant. We have the International Research Networks, which my grant comes from this international research network. And also we have the Global Research Alliances. So the focus is for resources for finance mobility for professors, PhD candidates, researchers, and administrative staff, as like me. And this project, we have partners from Brazil, Argentina, United Kingdom, Canada, US. So the main focus is to consolidate our international research networks. About the international research networks is to consolidate our research networks and also to analyze types of movements, social territory movement aspects, the type of actions, the relations with SDGs in a comparative perspective. And the other one, the Global Research Analysis Alliances, is the objective is to create international graduate programs. So the final part of this, presentation, thinking about future partnerships for Brazil and Canada, and BU and UNESP. We have some calls from the São Paulo Research Foundation. It's good, so you can know our foundation, São Paulo Foundation. We have the Research Foundation. We have agreement with some institutions from Canada. We have a list here. So frequently we have some calls related to some specific theme, some specific research topic, but usually we have each partner, we have some calls for each partners. So an example, recently we have the transatlantic platform. Considering the federal level, we have the CAPS and Global Affairs Canada. So it's a joint, it's focused on joint research projects between Canada and Brazil in all areas of knowledge, encourage research and the training of high-level human resources through scientific exchanges and academic mobility. And also we have as I said before, the example that I gave, the CAP Sprint, the Institutional Program for Internalization, It was a project that is supposed to finish this year, but it was postponed. All the projects that were postponed due to the pandemic. So participation of Brandon University is more than welcome. Here we have the contact of our international relations officer. I'm not a staff from international relations offices, but I can help to connect. I can help to make the connection with this officer. If you have any questions, if you have interest in some specific area, if you want to make contact with some scholar, with some professor, and also Professor Robles also can help in this connection, in this communication. And also we have the São Paulo, the State University, UNESP academic staff portal. Is a very good link so you can see the research themes, the professors that are related to research themes. We have a big database there, so you can find our researchers and our professors, our scholars in this link.